You see, what I'm proposing to you in essence is to engage yourself as the captain of your life. To realize that you are, while you are on NoFap and semen retention now, you are in control. Your life is yours. You make this thing a lifestyle. An addiction is not something that is cured once and for all. You are always on the verge of a relapse. You are always marching towards a possible relapse.
Porn addiction recovery and semen retention is not a once in a lifetime event. You don't just decide once and then, as it were, a magic pill and everything would be beautiful. No, unfortunately. So long you're living and breathing, you are marching towards a possible relapse. Just like a well worn path, the brain knows the way to the maximum dopamine release. And once you are triggered by stress, sadness, depression, anything else that happens in your life that causes you to stress, causes your stress hormones to release, your brain will suggest, or in some cases will overwhelm you to default to porn, to masturbation, because the promise of relief, the promise of ecstasy, the promise of euphoria is something that the brain attaches a lot of value to. The brain will chase promise of pleasure more than the pleasure itself. An addiction can be cured only by transferring the energy, the focus into something else. But the addiction itself, once the brain has learned to associate pleasure with such act or such action, it will always know how to find its way back. Given the right circumstances, you will relapse, because that's why we talk about triggers in addiction. The person recovering from addiction, once triggered, may relapse. An addiction recovery, therefore, is not a once in a lifetime event. Otherwise, you are always on the verge of relapsing. I want to help you to understand the inherent nuances of addiction recovery. And of course, for our purpose here, NOFAP or PMO recovery. But first, if you are new, consider subscribing and also checking my Patreon. I have practical insights, practical information here that I share with guys who are getting on NoFap, semen retention, and sex transmutation. How I've been able to get out of PMO after 23 years through research, studies, learning, and trial and error. And I wanted to be the good hero, to come back, to be my brother's keeper, and to share those practical insights with you. So there is value for you if you subscribe to my channel, and also check my Patreon for an opportunity to get coached and mentored and supported by me. If you're ready, let's go. See, you were sold the wrong dream when it comes to addiction recovery. There is so much online literature that has to do with NoFap that emphasizes superficial benefits. And as such, they also talk about superficial means of recovery. And the knowledge that you get is very superficial also. And some guys have relapsed because they don't have the right insight and the right knowledge. Porn addiction recovery and semen retention is not a once in a lifetime event. You don't just decide once and then, as it were, a magic pill and everything would be beautiful. No, unfortunately. So long you're living and breathing, you are marching towards a possible relapse. Just like a well-worn path, the brain knows the way to the maximum dopamine release. And once you are triggered by stress, sadness, depression, anything else that happens in your life that causes you to stress, causes your stress hormones to release, your brain will suggest, or in some cases will overwhelm you to default to porn, to masturbation, because the promise of relief, the promise of ecstasy, the promise of euphoria is something that the brain attaches a lot of value to. The brain will chase promise of pleasure more than the pleasure itself. To recover successfully is a knowledge and a practice, not a once in a lifetime event. So I'm going to share 3 ideas with you that are going to help you understand better. Those are ideas that I have applied in my own life for the past 5 going to 6 years that have helped me to establish a more fruitful and healthy life without PMO. And those same ideas, I teach them to my clients on Patreon, or even before I started YouTube and Patreon. And they have helped them to succeed as well. Because addiction recovery is a knowledge and a practice. I want you to get that in your mind. It's a knowledge and a practice, not a one-time event and then rest on your laurels thinking that all is well. I have a subscriber who recently commented on one of my videos and said he just had a relapse, and the way he relapsed was he woke up and masturbated without even realizing it. He did not even watch porn. He was not even aware of it. By the time he caught himself, he had already jerked off, and he had already lost his precious juice, his life force. But he learned some valuable lesson too. He said, this thing is not a once in a lifetime event. There's no magic pill. One of the pitfalls of addiction recovery is the addict's arrogance coupled with naivety. One of the addictive thinking pattern is the addict getting to the place and thinking to himself, I think I got it. I think that I've recovered. I mean, I haven't drunk for 1 year. I haven't relapsed for 6 months. A guy on NOFAP would say, oh, I think I'm over that now. I think I'm past that now. I think I got it now. I think I'm in control now. And that arrogance, or at best, that naivety, is exactly the false belief that your mind wants you to adhere to. Because remember now, so long that you believe you got it, you're going to let your guards down. And once you let your guards down, just like a thief in the night, you will get robbed. Because your brain is always seeking to make you put your guards down. Yes. And once you believe you got it, just like I like to say about people who are always late. People who are always late have the belief that they always have time. If you tell them, look, I thought you had to be there, you have to be there at 1:30. It's 12:30. They're like, oh, 12:30, a whole hour to go. I got time. And then they run late. People who don't run late are people who never think they have time. And so therefore, they schedule it in and they make the time to get there on time. You understand the idea, right? So if you think you got it, you already lose. You're already losing. because that thinking is going to cause you to rest on your laurels and put your guards down. And just when you didn't expect it, it would hit you and then you relapse. So then we can ask the logical question, is there a way to live life as an addict where you know for sure that you either are always ahead of your mind or you are always keeping yourself on guard as to prevent the next possible relapse? Yes, of course, there is a way. And I'm going to share these three ideas with you. The first way you can be sure that you're always progressing and you're always avoiding a possible relapse is to make NOFAP and semen retention a lifestyle. You see, you can't make this thing a once in a lifetime event. It doesn't work like that. It's not like your brain has forgotten that route. It's not like you are dead. No. So long you are alive, there is the possibility of relapsing because life is dynamic. Many things will happen in your life that will stress your system, that will stress your nervous system, and that will become a trigger. And that trigger can cause you to relapse. So I want you to understand my vision on NoFap and semen retention is a brand new life altogether. Is really just choosing to create a brand new life. We get rid of the old life. We are new men seeking to better our lives. We live this thing every day. We breathe it every day. We take action on it every day. We talk about it every day. We either watch a video or read an article about it every day because it's a new life. You have to exchange the old life for a new life. You have to renew your mind to know that you have chosen a new life. The old is gone. You are now on a new lifestyle. And on this new lifestyle, one of the things that you do, or it could be the primary things that you do, is to nurture your life, is to nurture your brain, your mind as it relates to doing things that will keep you from going back to the old life. We have to make NoFap and semen retention a lifestyle. It cannot be a once in a lifetime event. I know, it could be hard. It could be hard to feel like, oh man, I'm always fighting and keeping myself from relapsing. It could seem hard because your mind is lazy. Your mind would want you to believe that that was a once in a lifetime thing and you're not doing this thing no more and therefore forget about it. That's when you let your guards down. And that's when you least expect it, you will relapse. It's a lifestyle. It's a new belief system. It's a new way of living. It's a new way of relating to the world. For example, you don't watch those X-rated hip-hop videos like City Girls, or as much as I like Cardi B, some of her videos are too sexually explicit, and some other people out there. In my new lifestyle, I can't really allow myself. And on Instagram, I'm very careful who I follow because I don't want my eyes to lay onto something that's going to shock my nervous system, that's going to give me a flashback to porn. You understand? I don't want to see no twerking videos. I don't want to go to the strip club. I don't want to go to the club. I don't want to listen to those sexual music. I don't want to watch a movie that is sexually explicit. You understand? It's a lifestyle. You have to mind that business every single day. You have to make it your business every single day. You dig? Point number 2. You have to consider continuing education. You have to continue feeding your mind. Feeding your mind materials on neuroscience, materials on psychology, materials on critical thinking, materials on spirituality or health or fitness, whatever that keeps you on top of your game, whatever that keeps you going, you have to consider continuing education. You have to consider continuing inspiration. You have to get up in the morning and find you a source of inspiration. You have to tap into something that makes you think, something that makes you think critically, something that makes you consider the higher values like ethics, like philosophy, morality, spirituality. You have to consider continuing education. You have to make this thing a new learning on a daily basis. You have to read something, listen to a good audiobook, or watch a documentary. You have to continue feeding your mind good stuff, constructive concepts, better yet, concepts that help you to expand. Because in doing so, in making this thing in lifestyle and in continuing your education on self development and expansion, you are rewiring your brain to continue to associate pleasure and fulfillment with other things in life besides porn. You understand? So, on a daily basis, read something inspirational, listen to something inspirational, watch a documentary, watch something inspirational. Get into the habit of journaling or documenting your journey, or tap into someone who you know once you hear them, you're going to learn. Get a mentor, get a coach, get something going to keep you on top of your game. Because if you're not advancing, if you're not progressing, you are regressing. There's no standing still in the universe. One thing is constant in the universe, that is change. And when you are not in control of change, change will overtake you and you won't like it. That's why I teach, if you are at a job, make change happen. Either educate yourself to get a promotion or work on your exit plan. If you're not doing that, change will come anyway. Getting laid off, getting fired, change will come anyway. Just as a relationship. If you are in a relationship, make a plan. Make a plan of loving and serving the person that you're with. Make a plan of improving yourself, always checking in with them and to see where things are. Because change is always about to happen. And if you're not in control of that change, it will happen regardless. You might get dumped. You might get heartbroken. And that's what happens in relationship. So commit yourself to a plan of continuing education for your growth, your expansion, to support your recovery. Okay? All right, so let's go to the third point. Third point is to have a dream. Well, see, you can't quit porn and you're keeping your semen and you're just going to sit there. It's not going to work. You have to transfer that energy into something practical, into something that's really exciting, into something exhilarating. You have to create a new dream, or you have to revisit your old dream, or pick up something. You have to create something more exciting, something that causes you to wake up in the morning and that fills you with joy, that fills you with power, and that you're moving towards it. Because this is the whole essence of sex energy transmutation. You are keeping the energy and now you're transmuting it. Transmuting meaning that you are exchanging it for something else. You are using that as fuel to create something else in the world. So you have to have a dream, you have to have a passion, you have to have goals, you have to have things that you are running after, things that you are creating, things that make you feel significant, things that give you joy, and things that you look forward to obtaining, to manifesting, to becoming. You have to be engaged in active sex energy transmutation. Otherwise, you will relapse, because if a man is not pursuing anything in his future, he is looking in the rearview mirror. He's looking at the past. And of course, once you start looking at the past, once you start looking over your losses, your pain, your hurts, that will become a trigger. And once you're triggered, you may be overwhelmed. And of course, once you're emotionally overwhelmed, the next option is to relapse. You see, what I'm proposing to you in essence is to engage yourself as the captain of your life. To realize that you are, while you are on NOFAP and semen retention now, you are in control. Your life is yours. You know, you make this thing a lifestyle. You commit to a continuing education plan, and you have a dream or dreams or passions or things that you can you see how these 3 points, can you see how if you would do these 3 things, they can radically change your life? You can literally reinvent yourself this way.